So let's start that interview. Thank you for coming. Okay, so firstly, so could you introduce yourself briefly?
Hi, I'm Jeremy Rubin. I am one of the founders of the MIT Digital Currency Initiative. But currently I'm working as a freelance Bitcoin engineer, open source core developer, based in San Francisco.
Okay, so could you explain your past experience in the development of the Bitcoin blockchain?
So I first got into Bitcoin in 2011 while I was in high school.
High school?
High school. I thought it was interesting, and I think I tried mining on my laptop, but it was making my room too warm, so I stopped mining. And it wasn't until 2013 that I began to do actual projects in the Bitcoin space. So I acquired my first Bitcoin in the summer of 2013 off of Mt. Gox. And then in the fall, I worked on a project called Tidbit. Now, Tidbit was a project to replace advertising on websites with cryptocurrency mining. And this was good for a number of reasons. As we've seen recently, advertising on these fake news websites has been a pretty major problem. The goal of Tidbit was that you would earn money on for a website dependent on how much time you spent on it. And you wouldn't be incentivized to show people advertisements which link away from your content. You would be incentivized to keep them there and have the most useful and engaging experience. Also, for privacy issues, it was great because you no longer had to track your users across websites. So there were a lot of reasons that this was a positive thing, but we had a big major lawsuit and had a big fight with the state of New Jersey, which went on for a number of years. And following that legal battle, which started soon after, I kind of had a crossroads of, do I get more into Bitcoin or do I focus on other things? And I decided that Bitcoin was something really interesting, and I was surprised that not so many of my peers at MIT knew about it, and so I really made it part of my mission to spread more knowledge, information about something I thought was so cool.
Okay, so as I know, so you are the co-founder of the MIT Bitcoin Club and DCI.
So I would actually have to credit my good friend Dan Elitzer with being the founder of the MIT Bitcoin Club. We came together to make something called the MIT Bitcoin Project, which gave every undergraduate at MIT $100 in Bitcoin. In November 2014 is when we gave it to them. So they made good money if they held on to it.
What is your intention to initiate such kind of initiative like MIT Bitcoin Club or MIT DCI?
Well, I think this material is a really interesting topic, both academically and societally. I think it has a lot of space for impact, but it's very tricky and hard to get into space. And I think having organizations that can serve as an organizational function or be inclusive and try and bring more people in are really great. And so that's where I founded the DCI, was to help bring together all the people at MIT to have a common research community and environment. And that's where making events like Scaling Bitcoin or the MIT Bitcoin Expo serves as kind of a community togetherness function that's very important.
How many percent is there in the MIT Bitcoin Club or this community MIT?
So I actually don't know currently. I'm a part of, there are a lot of Slack teams for various MIT Bitcoin groups. And I went in one of them and I saw a friend who went back to MIT for her master's. And I said, "Oh, are you a part of the DCI now?" And she said, "Yeah, it's huge. There's so many people in it now." So it's really growing quickly. And that's, I think, due to the great leadership from Neha and Joey and others there.
As you know that, so the discipline of the MIT BDR is anti-disciplinary. So the good thing in MIT or MIT Bitcoin Club or MIT DCI is that the organization is anti-disciplinary. How do you think that special benefit from that this kind of anti-disciplinary in this community?
So one of the great things about MIT in general is that there's such a good diversity of perspectives and interests, and everyone is very high technical level, great at their discipline, but a lot of times they get siloed off from one another, and the business school doesn't really talk to the CS school that much. I think what's nice with the DCI is it serves as a common meeting ground for everyone to come together and to explore this research, and then also for the Media Lab itself to have its own twist and perspective on things. And so there's been a lot of great collaboration. I know Neha is teaching a class this coming semester, spring 2017, with Silvio Macaulay at CSAIL. And they're going to be covering all sorts of cryptocurrency engineering courses for computer science graduate students, and it's going to be very awesome.
Yeah. You're the first member of that MIT Bitcoin Club and MIT Digital Currency Initiative, and you're so familiar with in the for the many activities in MIT. And I would like to ask you several questions regarding the MIT's blockchain research. So, what kind of the research is now conducted in MIT?
So I recently completed my master's at MIT. For that, I talked about kind of an alternative view of the issuing of assets that uses a decaying function to decrease the value of assets over time to incentivize spending rather than increasing the number of assets with inflation. So that was my research. There's also some really great research happening right now on a protocol called Algorand from Silvio Macaulay and a number of other professors at MIT that is a really interesting, novel, new Byzantine fault-tolerant consensus protocol. There are people working on kind of more applied projects of saying, can we put medical records into the Bitcoin blockchain and manage them through there? In the States, the electronic medical records problem is a little bit Byzantine, and it's hard to get people to integrate with one another. There are people working on the Zero Cash project, which is a really amazing cryptographic innovation that allows to transact without knowing sender, recipient, or amount, or to really prove any property without showing how you proved it. There is people working on functional secret sharing servers that would allow you to maybe implement wallets in a new way. There's a lot of really fantastic research going on.